Welcome back. Today, with the help of some dumb American, we're going to be addressing a gentleman who believes you should force your beliefs onto other people. I can hardly wait to hear his reasoning for this. As someone that firmly believes in freedom, I'm so excited.
Hey guys, so I just thought I'd do a quick video today discussing the idea of forcing beliefs. As vegans, we're always told that we're pushing our beliefs onto others, and I'm not really sure if this is a criticism at all.
Oh no, it's a valid criticism. Vegans are obnoxious. You know, there's actually a vegan who moved to Switzerland who got denied her citizenship because she was so annoying. So this is not an us thing. This is a you thing.
Agreed. Now, if you look at the vegan YouTubers, certainly the better known ones, you will notice a trend of obnoxious and abusive behavior towards those that are meat eaters. The best examples would be Vegan Gains, who has a tendency to openly insult his own family members and rage over others that suffer illness. Granted, he uses evidence, but his approach is borderline violent. Another would be the Banana Girl, but let's not get too sucked into that particular brand of crazy. Other examples of this obnoxious behavior come in the form of celebrities, where they preach about how amazing their vegan existence is and the rest of us just ignore them because they're celebrities and totally out of touch with the real world. Thank you, Hollywood.
If we look at the Black Rights Movement, they forced their beliefs of equality onto racists.
That's actually false. People presented the idea of equal rights and most everybody else went, you know what, that's probably a better system. People have heard your animal rights mumbo jumbo and they've decided that bacon is more important. You can't force your beliefs on people and nor should you try to. You can only present your arguments and then people are either going to agree with you or disagree with you.
I would love to hear this gentleman's view on the current civil rights groups that use extreme violence and prejudice to try and bully the wider populace into giving them what they want. Bear in mind, what they want is a return to segregation and for white people to exist in a state of perpetual guilt. Oh, and SDA, if you're going to reference bacon, the least you could do is perform your womanly duty and provide me, a man, with a bacon sandwich with some HP brown sauce on.
So to claim that it's negative to force your beliefs onto others is incredibly misguided.
Do you think he realizes that not all beliefs that someone might want to force on you are good beliefs?
No, I believe that he believes what he stands for is the absolute and correct way to live one's life.
Because if social justice movements did not do this, if they didn't make their needs heard or their beliefs heard, then they would never achieve their goals.
Some of the goals of social justice include the earlier mentioned segregation, for safe spaces to be created away from white people, the enforcement of whiteness courses, censorship, policing of the internet, no platforming anyone that challenges their regressive ideals, and for free speech to be banished. Oh, and let's not forget that listen and believe should replace due process.
Making your beliefs heard does not equate to forcing your beliefs onto somebody. You've made your beliefs heard, and I've tried vegan pizza. There's no replacing real pizza.
Yeah, I've got to agree with SDA on this one. Try going out with a few mates, getting wasted, and then ordering and having vegan pizza. You sober up pretty damn fast after that, just so you can order a nice barbecue chicken pizza.
And if you're a meat eater watching this, you might be saying, well, that's different because you're talking about black people or women who are fundamentally humans. We're talking about a different species.
No, we're talking about the circle of life, and I don't know if you know this, but we've had domesticated animals for a very long time. And in order for organic things to work, we have to eat organic material. It's just how it works. What's interesting is that if you actually came at this from a health perspective instead of a mumbo-jumbo morality perspective, you'd have a lot more points because it is true that we in the West eat too much protein, and that's actually the reason why people are so fat, because they get so much protein that they don't need, because they don't use it, because they're sitting at their computers all day working. So it actually is beneficial for people to cut a ton of animal products out of their diet. Seriously, if you want to lose a ton of weight, all you have to do is either cut out protein or cut out carbs, and it will just drop off provided that you are also working out. But this isn't a smart vegan. This is probably Russell Brand's long lost little brother, and we all know how crazy Russell Brand is.
I do love that the very concept of predator and prey is totally ignored by this gentleman. We as a species are predators. Yes, we can suppress the desire to eat meat, but as it is a source of protein and we need protein, we eat it. And before someone points it out, yes, I'm very much aware that protein can be obtained through alternate methods, just not one that is anywhere near as tasty as a good old-fashioned steak. Hashtag give animals civil rights. Hashtag no lives matter.
And the thing is, you've got to remember that black people and women used to be oppressed like we oppress animals today.
I don't recall putting women and black people in milking machines. I also don't recall having a cow clean my home while a sheep makes my dinner. I don't recall, do you see where this is going? Your comparison is weak and is not even remotely relatable. Granted, you want to give animals basic rights that prevents them from being slaughtered, but your comparison implies that we did that to women and black people through oppression and the denial of rights they were due as members of the human race.
Look, I get it. Baby cows are cute. But we eat animals, and animals are not people.
They used to be viewed as less than, and that's exactly how we view animals. We view them as less than humans, like we used to view black people as less than white people, or women less than men.
Okay, Russell, calm down. It's not that we think that we're totally better than animals, it's that we want to eat bacon. Seriously, rewatch The Lion King. It'll explain all of this to you.
You have a very narrow worldview. Did you know there's legitimate racism still going on around the world today? Not just those few instances that occur in the United States. Now, all of that aside, where there are countries that do not have the resources to grow crops to feed their people without killing animals, what do you suggest they do if all they have are animals that can survive off the barren land? Oh, and do tell me, say we all go vegan and never kill an animal. Do you intend to re-educate the very basic instinct of every predator on the planet so no one dies ever?
It's the same idea, and it's very, very convenient to be the oppressor and to judge those who are speaking on behalf of the victims because you're the oppressor and you like the position you're in. You're in the position of privilege and the position of power.
I love the idea that every time I'm sinking my teeth into a T-bone steak, I'm actually oppressing an animal. It doesn't sound at all ridiculous. What do you think, SDA?
Well, at the very least, we're in the position of meat cleavers, that's for damn sure.
So when people try and take that away from you by saying, hang on, maybe you're not as important as you first thought you were, you're going to react in an aggressive way.
While not keen on repeating oneself, this is not exactly relatable to animals and humans. I also don't want to have to keep mentioning that we, the predator, conquered the world, kinda. And we created farms to sustain our species. Yes, we can do wonderful things now to move away from farming animals and sustain ourselves through alternate methods. But you cannot, as your video title states, force your beliefs onto others. Your rhetoric is very deceptive and reminds me of a few faiths that like to do that to convert people. I do not like it, support it, or condone it. People should be free to decide what they do as long as what they do does not break the law of the land, and if one decides to go vegan, that is their choice. Playing the oppression card does you no favours, to be honest.
And saying that vegans are forcing their beliefs on you is purely a manifestation of this fear that you have, this fear that perhaps you're not as important as you thought you were, and perhaps humans aren't on this pedestal above all animals.
Can someone please shove Russell into a locker? I know I'm not supposed to want to do that, but he's annoying. Also, I know you think you're all philosophical, but people aren't getting aggressive with you because they're afraid that they're going to be knocked down from their human pedestal that makes them feel special. They just hate you. Because psychoanalyzing people and pretending that the reason why they want to eat bacon is because they just feel that they're too important to not eat bacon is really fucking annoying.
If we move on, it really strikes me as being interesting how we don't view people who campaign for human equality, such as the fair pay of people who work in sweatshops. We never say that those people should be criticised for forcing their beliefs onto others.
They're not forcing their beliefs onto people. They're just presenting them and people agree with them. So it's not really an issue. But with you, people still like bacon, so this is why you have this problem, and no, it doesn't mean that you can just force your beliefs onto other people. People have a right to enjoy bacon.
I do want to point out that a clothing company had a campaign supported by some celebrities. They wore these delightful t-shirts with the slogan, "This is what a feminist looks like." Those t-shirts were made in a massively underpaid factory in Mauritius. The employees weren't even earning enough to eat well, let alone eat well enough to go vegan. Oh, and as most of the employees were female and basically living on site exactly like an old-fashioned workhouse for 62p an hour to make a £45 shirt, the hypocrisy of feminism is hilarious. And I know you're a feminist, as you state it clearly in another video that I fully intend to cover in the future. Interesting little fact, the dodo comes from Mauritius. and we really should have farmed that plump pigeon.
Likewise, I find it even more interesting that we never say the people who fight for the end of the Yulin dog meat trade or the end of the Taiji dolphin slaughter, we never say that they're pushing their agenda or forcing their beliefs in a negative way.
That's because we view dolphins and dogs as different from herd animals. Herd animals we have raised for decades and centuries and millennia to give us meat and milk. That's what they're for. Dogs are companions, and therefore that's how we view them. And dolphins are marine mammals that we know are super duper smart. So we feel kind of weird about screwing them up.
Last year was the first time I had ever heard of Yulin. I saw it via an Instagram post and it shocked me to my core. After the shock had worn off, I did some research and noticed that it is becoming a growing movement to have it banned. I hope, I pray that one day it happens and is banned, as the methods are barbaric and inhumane. Burning, boiling or torturing a live animal is unacceptable and brings out a deep hatred in anyone that has any kind of love for animals that isn't bestiality, especially dog owners.
And this quite simply comes down to an ego-driven sense of self.
No, it's not.
It just comes down to herd animals versus not herd animals. This isn't that hard.
For people in the West who consume animal products, we hate the idea of being told that we can't consume dairy or meat because it's something that we enjoy. But we don't enjoy eating dog like they do in China, so we find it very easy to criticize them for doing so, saying that their actions are moral, while at the same time overlooking the fact that our actions are identical.
Yeah, we find it more outrageous to eat a dog than to eat a cow because dogs have been selectively bred for millennia to be companions to humans, and that's how we see them. But all of that varies from culture to culture.
This brings back the point I mentioned earlier. If we all go vegan, are you now going to impose yourself upon other cultures to make them go vegan as well? Which would include China and their dog eating. They're not the only nation that eat dog, by the way. But his example is obviously what he gives, and we're working with that.
It's ironic if you say save the dolphins or save the dogs, you're seen as some sort of animal rights hero, you're a fantastic person. But if you say save the pigs or save the cows, you're seen as a vegan extremist who's forcing their beliefs.
I don't think that's ironic at all. I think if you want to protest it, you are free to. But I am free to support any movement that appeals to me. No one should be forced to do anything. In this case, it won't be to support freeing cows that will end up halting traffic. You haven't made much of this, and I reckon vegan atheists would have done a much better job without being blinded by the regressive morals that you hold. I feel confused by your obnoxious arguments.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. For whatever reason, vegans are just nuts.
And with that, I think we'll end this. Thank you, some dumb American, and thank you all for listening.